one of my biggest mindsets is this is more about me than it's about anybody else. So I'm not, most employees have the mindset that I'm doing the organization a favor.
Yeah.
I knew that this was about me.
You're developing
I was
yourself.
learning, I was growing,
You're
I was developing myself.
Trust me.
And as long as, that I needed to earn being in the circle and in that space and being with some of these, really, I had incredible bosses, how much I was going to learn from them. So I understood it was more about me.
Welcome to Almost Couch, an entrepreneurship and career talk show where we'll help young entrepreneurs and professionals reach their full potential. My name is Omon Odike, your darling host, and I'll be bringing you amazing guests who have seen it all to educate and inspire you with their beautiful stories. Let's go! Our guest today is a seasoned transformational leader with 22 years in corporate, retail, and commercial banking. Starting as a marketing officer in one of Nigeria's biggest banks, she rose to pioneer strategic retail initiatives, excelling in the construction and energy sector. While she was a divisional head, she doubled her bank's customer base and successfully revitalized operations in challenging regions. She's currently the MD CEO of Parthian Capital Limited, where she leads strategic growth and innovative initiatives, recognized as a creative problem solver and natural leader. Her career is marked by mentoring strong leaders, reflecting her passion and determination. She's none other than Mrs. Ndidi Ukaonu. Let's welcome her to Almost Couch. Please have a seat.
Thank you, Omon. Happy to be here.
Nice to have you. I'm so happy and excited to finally have Ndidi on my couch. Welcome to Almost Couch.
Thank you.
I'm sure our viewers cannot wait to hear a well of information and knowledge from you.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
That will be extremely wonderful. And right now, I'm going to start with, who is Ndidi? Who is the lady behind this wonderful brand, Ndidi? And I'm sure we want to, our viewers, our audience want to know or hear from you about your journey, your career journey, which is very peculiar. Career journey, how you actually started from where you took up a job and where you are today. Especially the fact that you delve into, you chose to do banking and concentrating on the commercial, the retail aspect, as well as I think corporate banking. So we'll be very interested in knowing, why did you choose corporate banking? Why did you choose that area?
Well, really, so first questions first. Ndidi is a career professional in the finance industry. I've been in finance for about 24 years now.
Wow.
And something that is very interesting, I've mostly only done business development, which most people call marketing.
Marketing, yes.
Right? And a lot of people tend to run away from marketing.
No, trust me,
I have enjoyed every single bit of it. My career has seen me move around quite a bit.
Okay.
So I started in Lagos.
Okay.
Did a good chunk of corporate banking and a bit of energy, construction and energy out of Abuja.
Oh,
and
you worked in Abuja for a while too?
Yes, for quite a while. And then my last posting before I left the banking industry was in Port Harcourt for 5 years. Yeah.
You're working for a wonderful brand, and we can call the name GTB.
Yes.
One of the foremost prominent banks in Africa.
And one of the greatest places to start your
work.
career, if I have to say.
So what were the things in your early years, I'm sure it couldn't have been that easy. And were there times where you actually got to a stage or had a lot of issues or problems where you in your career, just like a lot of young people who have started their careers and they're having those problems and issues, even in the banking sector or whatever sector they are actually operating now, what were those challenges and how were you able to surmount them and say, I'm not quitting, I'm going to continue? What drove you? What was that mindset that drove you to not to quit, even with all the challenges?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I think I was first and foremost where I wanted to be.
So you chose
I
this
wanted
profession.
to work at GT Bank.
Okay.
I desired it earnestly.
Wow.
And so when I got that job, all the other banks, interview
was a
processes,
distraction.
I just dropped everything because that was the job that I really wanted. And GT Bank is and was a place where the expectation for excellence was high. And if you worked in the bank at the point in time, I mean, I think you were so driven to also raise your game. It was such a huge molding place. I don't quite remember having challenges where I said, oh, I wanted to quit because, you know, like I'm saying about GT Bank, on your journey you learn quite a lot. And I remember one cardinal lesson when I once said, I'll just leave the job.
You would just leave the job.
I'll just leave this thing for them. You know, when you're a young professional, sometimes you issue those subtle threats.
Yes.
And thankfully, I had this boss then in Abuja. I didn't report directly to him, but he was the most senior person in the region at that time, Mr. Ndidi Ukaonu. And I remember him saying, don't ever say things like that, because regardless of how you are sending that message out,
that you're not so serious about it.
So the way he explained that it is received is that, oh, so you're just not strong enough to handle what it takes to go all the way.
To be a leader.
And that was such a huge moment for me. I never ever said that.
Use that word
just
again.
Leave the job. That subtle threat, because I understood how it came across
to be that you were weak, too weak to be able to continue to take what the
But did I
challenges
have the typical irritations? Oh, severally. But I think one of the strongest things about me has been my mental strength and discovering the ability to talk myself out of a situation. So
you don't even need a third party, you can just work on yourself.
I will talk it through. No, I mean, sometimes you need your friends, you always need a support system. But you know, you are your biggest support system. And I learned the conversations I had with myself were critically important. So one of the things that I did when I entered those irritating situations, and I will share one with you that suddenly comes to mind, is that I just say to myself, I play the narrative. I don't play it the typical way. I just explain, oh, you know what, this person is so upset because I haven't done something properly.
So you're rational. That's just
I'm very rational.
You're rational, but you know, most employees are not rational. So it's a mindset thing.
Yes, it is a mindset thing.
They are rational, but most employees have I'm sure you know the employee mindset where it's just to take, never really to give or complain a lot. But not for everybody, I must say. But you're a rational being, and that's why you would rationalize. You would think about what you're going through and find a solution.
But you know, that behavior had to be learned
by yourself.
By yourself, you have to learn it. You have to develop the mindset that, I mean, there is the bigger mindset, right? And one of my biggest mindsets is, this is more about me than it's about anybody else. So I'm not, most employees have the mindset that I'm doing the organization a favor.
Yeah.
I knew that this was about me.
You're developing
I was
yourself.
Learning, I was growing, I was developing myself. Trust me. And as long as, I mean, that I needed to earn being in the circle and in that space and being with some of these, really, I had incredible bosses, how much I was going to learn from them. So I understood it was more about me than it was about anything else.
I think, in the day, I think I share a lot of what you've just said. I don't know if whether it's a generational thing or whether it's just we are just peculiar, because I share that same sentiment. I mean, when I was practicing in the law firm, I say to people, and I still say to tomorrow, that I felt it was a privilege for them to employ me in a place that I really wanted to work. Absolutely. And for me, every day I walked in that space, I felt they had given me that privilege and I was honoring it.
Yes.
So I even, of course, there were bad days. Of course, there were days I was like freaking out and I couldn't do it, or it was too difficult, it was but just too demanding. But at the end of the day, I knew they were doing me a favor to have employed me.
Absolutely.
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
And every skill I learned, I knew I was learning for myself. Absolutely. So I don't know whether it's a generational thing, or whether it's because now the mindset, I'm a huge employer of labor, and I can tell you it's really, you don't really see people being rational anymore.
Yeah, so...
But how can we get people, where can we get employees? Because I know you're a career path and you're always developing people and developing leaders. I will get to that part, but in this situation, how can we get people, the younger generation, to feel that they're actually working for themselves, not working for people, even when they're working in an establishment?
I think that, is that thing about rationalizing it to their hearing, okay? We need to be talking to this generation. I think because this generation is so outspoken, and can be, I dare say, really abusive. So people don't want to engage with them.
Which is the wrong thing to do.
They would drag you. Yeah. But we're not helping them. So we need to be brave to speak the truth, to engage them honestly and truthfully, and help them to see, because we were all at that point. There were times when my bosses said things that I didn't understand. Of course,
yes. Or you're so upset.
Yeah, but when I grew to their own, where they were at the point in time, I suddenly saw things differently. Yes. The same thing happened with my mother. So, over time, my mom would tell me things and I'll be like, doesn't make sense. There's no logic.
The same thing happens with motherhood.
And the next
when you're young, you think they are killing you, they are wicked and everything.
Absolutely.
But when you grow old, you find out that, wow.
And with time, I just discovered that every single time my mom, most times when my mom told me something and I didn't take her counsel, I suffered for it.
Yes.
So I recalibrated myself and I learned to listen to my mom. Sometimes what she was saying didn't make sense, and Mom, you're hearing it, right? But I started to just, as long as she said it, it must have been the right thing. And I suffered less because I heeded her instruction.
I'm sure you're enjoying this episode already. I would like you to take a moment to please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave your aha moments in the comment section below. We would love to engage with you. Okay, let's get back to the show. Definitely. I think our generation, there's something different. If you listen to a lot of people in our generation, what they say, how they see life, how they see business, how they see careers is totally different. But that I will still not, I don't think we should give up on the idea of the fact that the younger generation think differently. I think, as you said, we can work with them. Communication is key. If they can hear us, then they may be able to change or tweak some things. And we're not even saying our way is the perfect way, but we have tried and tested them. And we've seen that it actually generates good results. And that's what we're saying. And of course, with the change of time and the dynamics of the world and the society and tech and everything that has come to play, there's definitely, you definitely have to change a lot of models in terms of work.
Yeah, we have to. But, I kind of also see it as finding the meeting point. Because, we say this stuff about their attitude, but they do have a lot of great things about them.
A lot of it. And that's why I said we need to also balance it now.
So it is, where is the meeting point? And I think that the meeting point is, look, our way gave us tenacity. And giving them that tenacity, correct, and grit, giving it to their ingenuity and their creativity will give them
even a
longer staying power.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's what we need to share with them, but we must not let them lose that edge that they have with creativity, their willingness to take a risk. And once we can onboard our resilience, I think they'll have a longer
to their innovation
journey.
Than the sky or the ocean, everywhere is their limit. Wonderful, interesting and insightful. Well, going back to your career in the bank, I'm talking about the GT Bank. I know you were sent to Port Harcourt, and you didn't just work like the head of the bank there or regional head. you actually did some strategic things. I mean, now we're talking about career, so a lot of people who are listening to you want to know those kind of things that you did that got you those promotions. You started as I think you said a copper.
Yeah, no, I started as an executive trainee.
Which is the lowest level,
yeah.
okay, and moved up all the way to the top management position. So what would you say has been the thing that you have done differently that you've been sought out for promotions, for elevations, and of course we will come back to your current role as the MD CEO of Parthian Capital.
Okay, so very interestingly, I will use one word to kind of summarize everything that I think is critical in the first half of your career, and that is humility.
Wow.
My first lesson when I joined GT Bank, my first lesson was manage your boss. And you know, then in GT Bank, they used to say it a lot. And I thought it was counterintuitive. Okay. Your boss should be managing you. Why are people saying to
you used to hear that,
manage your boss?
And you used to hear that from older people.
Yes, everybody. I mean, it was such a mantra in the organization then, manage your boss, manage your boss. And then I did get a hang of it. I once was going to get into an altercation with one of my earliest bosses. Okay. And I had this gentleman who I credit, and you know, I've been looking for him for years. I still haven't found him. His name is Mr. Oye Ogundele.
To date?
Yeah, I never worked with him, but he watched me from a distance. And the next thing, he called my name and he said, come. And he said to me, you can't fight your boss and win. Say,
you can't fight your boss and win.
So
wow,
he said, you need to calm down, manage your boss. Yes. And after he spoke to me, he said, so I've spoken to you, I'll leave you to do whatever you want to do. And that was such a turning point in my career. And I had to learn over time how to manage my boss.
That's a mindset shift, if you ask me.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things I say to people is, in all my years in the bank, the one thing you would almost never hear about me is that I was rude to a boss. And that was because
you started early, you learned early.
Oye Ogundele.
And you say you haven't found him. I hope he can see this show and reach out to me or reach out to anybody so we can get to speak to Ndidi.
Yeah. So humility in the first half of your career, because I find that a lot of bosses are hungry to teach.
Yes.
When your attitude is a willingness to learn.
Yes.
If you come with the posture, I know what I'm doing, I do what nobody is going to teach you.
Nobody.
But in the first half of your career, not mediocrity, right? Not what's the word I'm going to use for that behavior, you know, but
just having a good mindset or passion to be able to.
Passion, yes, but you know, humility. I tell you, you know, I found that one word for it. You know, the sense that, you know what,
I don't
there's
know.
still
I'm
so much I don't know. I'm willing to learn. You guys have been there. You know this stuff.
Have the experience,
teach me. And then the willingness to reach out, to say, teach me. People find it very endearing, and people will pick you up and teach you.
Definitely.
And of course, some things you
can't
discount. And a willing
soul is actually a soul that gets built eventually.
Yes.
You learn so much.
You will learn.
And they give you special project that eventually turns out to be something that will ignite something great in your path.
Absolutely.
And people don't get it. One thing that I don't like about some employees, they start work and you see them avoiding. There's maybe 6 people within a particular department. They are supposed to maybe do the same thing. Maybe they're like graduate training, for example, which is a very clear-cut case of how you can grow into a bank or any sector. And you're all on the same level. 6 of you are given the same task. And you see 1 person or 2 people avoiding, never wanting to be called, never wanting to do so much. And they think people are not watching. Which is so shocking is that they feel they will still grow. It's a funny, it's a funny combination.
It's very interesting you raised this thing about volunteering.
Yes.
Volunteering is one of the greatest ways
strategy.
to learn and grow. You achieve visibility in the organization. You learn. Typically, when people are inviting you to participate in a project or giving you additional work, they're exposing you to people who
ordinarily you shouldn't be there.
You would never be interfacing with. And you have the opportunity to show your skill, to show yourself, to show your attitude, to show your capacity, and to learn and grow. So when people run away from those things and they feel, posturing is going to be enough to take you far.
No.
Yeah, you will look good, you will act the part at some point.
When they are taking a critical decision for a critical role, they will find those people who have given it all when it mattered. Yeah. And not those who were just mediocre at the corner, just watching from afar.
After all, every boss wants someone who can get stuff done.
And in fact, this idea of a lot of, when I'm talking about employees, I'm not here to berate employees. I have a lot of employees myself. The fact that, something to teach the ones who are, growing and understanding, even maybe in a confused state or not too sure of how to navigate the waters for growth. Seeing you starting from graduate training, now you're MD and CEO of a bank. They should be able to see.
Asset management.
Of an asset management. Bank. They should be able to see that you have put in something to get to where you are today. And it's not just resilience, grit, and the knowledge. It's about the ability to always open up to learn. Learn and relearn and learn again.
I'm a lifelong learner.
Yes.
And if it helps anybody, one of the things that I used to say, because one of the things that take away from people in an organization, we all know that it happens, is the corridor conversations. People whispering here and there, the gossip that goes on within an organization. You've gone, you've received this pep talk from a senior colleague who is trying to encourage you to be more and do more. And as soon as you walk out the door, somebody is trying to take that thing away from you by saying they're just using you.
Can you imagine?
They are just, so these things happen in organizations.
For real.
But my mindset or the conversation within myself has always been, whatever you're going to say about a boss, I don't care. One, I want to know people for myself. Two, for this person, especially in a
That's
GT
the
bank,
learning,
to attain the level that they did, there must be something about them.
Done.
And that thing that they have within them, I must learn
it. Yeah.
So I stay focused on, so you almost can't tell me anything about them. You can carry your tales about them. I'm just focused on what got them where they are and what skills I can learn from them. Because guess what? I also came to the realization that your boss is not with you forever. The way you can resign, they can resign.
Simple idea of the fact that no one is even perfect.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting perfection from you that's imperfect and the person is imperfect? So what are you expecting?
For me, with the boss, stay focused on learning.
On what you're there for.
Right. And then recognize that time is of the essence because you never know.
Time.
This person can leave your department, leave the country, leave your organization. And that opportunity to learn that special thing that they have is lost.
It's really a serious issue. But I think a lot of employees, some of them are having a good mindset. You see a lot, because there's been a lot of talks. With the advent of social media and a lot of talks, motivational speakers, not even just motivational speakers, subject matter experts, lending their voices to this cause. I think a lot of them are now looking at themselves and saying, I'm actually developing myself, because now the loudest thing you hear is not your qualification, is not what you read in school, is not all the things you've done, but your skill and experience. They are the loudest.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get those skills is actually putting yourself out there to get the skills.
Absolutely. It is putting in the work. You know, talk is cheap, as they say, and talk really is
doesn't
cheap.
Get anywhere.
You just really, really need to put in the work. But you know, for everything that we say about this generation, let me just put it out there. Look, I have worked with some phenomenal young people. So it's not all a bad story.
Definitely, yeah.
Truth be told. But you know, one of the interesting things, and maybe this once again is a learning point for young people, is when I interact with these people, I'm just
with
looking
the Gen Zs.
with the Gen Zs, with the phenomenal ones. I mean, I have met some who have blown my mind.
Definitely.
And I'm always
crazy
looking
talents.
Crazy talent. Awesome attitude.
Yeah.
The willingness to work hard. And I'm always like, you know, who is in my network who would need such a great talent? Where can I push this guy? How can I challenge this person? Who would need such an awesome person?
I need them, please.
So you find that when people meet you in that state, honestly, they want to elevate you. And I know that I'm not the only boss. I've met a lot of my friends who do the same thing. You know, when they find a phenomenal person, they're like,
they have to,
this person needs to, you know, I need to call someone.
That's
someone
what
needs
we call
to
in
talk to
HR talent.
Yeah.
How you package your talent is different from how you treat all the other employees within the organization. So it's interesting. Yeah. So Ndidi, as a seasoned leader, you've led a lot of people over the years, 24 years, as you said. What would you tell, or what would you say to the young up-and-coming people in their career path? What advice would you give them to actually have a positive mindset, or have the right mindset? Because now it's not about positive or negative, but having the right mindset in their different roles, in their different organizations as they move along.
So for me, it would be truly something I've said in the past before, that work is a platform. It is more about you than it's about anybody else. I cannot overemphasize that message. Because, and let me map it. You get into the organization, from your entry point, you've started to develop your network.
Definitely.
Right?
Which is true.
And that network will do phenomenal things for you, and will do phenomenal things for your children. You're going to learn a lot. And the fact that you're working with so many different people, there is so much to learn. That skill or the knowledge that you gather is something that you're ultimately going to trade for financial consideration. So it doesn't matter that two people started their career on the same day, right? 15 years down the line, one person is paid 5 times what the other person is earning. Why? What did he take on the journey that the other person didn't pick? So you need to stop having this sense that, oh, someone is trying to use you, they're trying to use you to make money on the job. They're just trying, just have that mindset.
I don't even know how to deal with that anymore.
This is about you.
It's just too funny.
This is about your future.
Even in 2023, people are still thinking that way.
People still do it.
They are using you to do work.
That, for me, is my message.
My question sometimes is, did you not apply for the job? Did you not apply for the job?
Exactly. You did apply for the job.
And in essence, you actually also begged for the job.
Through
your interview process.
Actually say, this is the job that you went to church and gave a testimony about. It's the same job you are cursing.
You are cursing. So it's a bit, sometimes it's really, really confusing for me to put the two together. Yeah,
but the truth also is, they must know that it's not going to be all rosy.
Yeah.
You're going to have difficult seasons.
Yes, definitely.
So for those seasons...
And it's also sometimes the difficult seasons you learn so much.
They are there to raise your game. That's the truth. I had a boss who used to say this. He said to a group of young people, everybody you see who has it so easy is not going anywhere. Don't bother.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it's like you read my mind. I mentioned something like that recently.
Yeah.
I mean,
because that's
some
what
hours ago.
strengthens you.
Yes. Anybody who has no problem cannot be a success. You cannot put no problem and success together. It doesn't really, it doesn't make sense.
And you know, that's what makes a movie sweet.
Yes.
That there is always a difficult
story,
season.
yes.
As we say in Nigeria, the actor almost died. And, if the movie was, you know, they woke up in the morning, they cleaned the table, they sat down, we say it's boring and nobody would watch it.
Yes.
So it is the same way your life would only, it's a journey and would only be exciting and interesting that you have
the ups and downs.
The ups and the downs. And really, if you handle the downs
well
and the ups well, because there's an issue with handling success too. If you handle the ups and the downs well, you're well on your way to your
fullest, greatest
goal, your greatest
potential.
person, whatever it is that you desire. So what work is more about you than it's about anybody else?
I think today I've learned, I mean, I've said it, but it's so loud hearing you say it. It's all about you.
It is all
when
about
you're
you.
Working for somebody, even when you're even working for yourself, it's still all about you.
It's all about
developing yourself, increasing your skill and preparing you for greater things to come.
Yes.
When you look at it from the career point of view, it actually helps you to accelerate to greater heights.
Absolutely.
When you look at it from the entrepreneur point of view, those ups and downs actually prepare you for greater projects, greater jobs, greater opportunities. Yeah. So that by the time you get there, you're able to navigate them smoothly and the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And you do so well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great insight, great information, great everything. I'm so happy to have you and hear from you. We're not done. We're going to ask you again. You've been doing all this role. Now, your current role as the CEO of Parthian Capital.
Yes.
Parthian Capital.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
How did you get this job? Or is that the right question to say? Or how did you prepare yourself for this job? Any way you want to take the question. It'll be interesting for people to understand. In fact, hold that thought. You have been working in GTB, and even everybody who has heard you sees this passion and zeal, even after you've left GTB. You work for over 24 years, am I correct?
Yeah, for 22 years.
22 years. And you're now in a new organization, but you still talk so well about that organization. Why did you have to leave? Why did you move? Why didn't you stay there? Why didn't you become the CEO of the bank?
No, I love GT Bank.
So what was that decision? Because people need to understand when you get to that place, how to identify that, I guess it was restlessness, and when it's time to move and take that pivotal step.
Yeah, so you're right to use the word restlessness. And, you know, it's a word that people had mentioned to me, you know, there is a restlessness. I didn't get it till I got to that point and I started to feel that restlessness. But having said that, truly, for me, if I were to put it into words, I think I was hungry for a different experience.
More. Okay, for a different experience, we could do more.
Yeah, hungry for more, hungry to do more.
Something different.
I just wanted something different, and it was time. And you know, I would give credit to GT Bank. That place built me, you know.
Join us on Omon's Couch, where inspiration meets action. If you're a remarkable entrepreneur or a career giant with a unique story to share, we want to hear from you. Become our guest on Omon's Couch and empower others with your journey, experiences, and valuable insight. Use the link provided in the description below to apply for yourself or nominate someone who deserves to be on this show. Let's inspire together.
I still feel so
attached to them,
blessed to have worked there because they've prepared me for everything else that I'm going to be doing.
Exactly.
Whatever the good stories were, the bad stories, the great times, the bad times, that place prepared me for
and
where I am today.
And they molded you to who you are today.
Absolutely. I could never tell my story without GT Bank. I would never. And in fact, the people who work with me today, they will tell you that.
I'm sure their ears are full.
You cannot even
ears are full.
You can't insult GT Bank in my presence. It's a no.
Wow.
And that's how much I appreciate how much I was groomed in that place.
Wonderful.
But you know, I came to a point
but
in my career.
You're just peculiar. And of course, there are a lot of people who could be, a lot of people who are like you too, who share the same sentiment.
Yes.
But some people will still be in the same GT Bank and still have a bad story to tell. Or maybe not necessarily a bad story to tell. Maybe GT Bank didn't do anything, but they never really got anything out of it. And I think that's what you've been trying to say through our discussion. It's not about what GT Bank gave to you. It's how did you position yourself within that organization for the length of time you were there to be able to receive the knowledge, skill.
How did you posture your mentality?
Yes.
To
grow,
to receive, to see that GT Bank or to see where you work is really a classroom. And there were just so many learning opportunities. There was a lot of exposure. So, and you know, now I can tell everybody free of charge, it then prepares you for whatever is next. Because if for nothing else, that place had, you know, in the professionalism that was in that place, it had become a model
for you
to build, to grow, to develop, whatever. So it was just time for a new challenge. I wanted a different challenge.
I'm sure you're very happy where you are right now.
Yes, I am. I'm pleased. What I'm doing is very exciting.
It's very interesting. Yes. Lovely to hear you. So now with all the things you've done, your movement, I mean, you moved from the banking sector. You're still in the financial sector.
I am.
in the
still
same
in finance,
sense.
Yes.
And but you still do a lot of impact. You do a lot of talk. You're a speaker, a renowned speaker. You do a lot of mentoring for the younger generation, especially moving them into the leadership space. And what is very interesting that you started this conversation on social media, speaking to leaders or people who are aspiring to be leaders and giving them the tools to enable them become leaders in the future in whatever field or sector they are. So speak to us about that. What's that all about, and how are you going to navigate that story? I know it's a new story that you're birthing, but we would like to know what journey you're taking us on.
Okay, so these days, I mean, sometimes when people who are close enough ask me, how that came about. So when you finished making all this money, when you have finished training your children in school, what's all this effort for? And I said, no, I'm living for three things. I'm living for legacy.
Yes.
I'm living for impact. And I'm living to be an example, primarily to my children. Now, my definition of children is a bit broad. Everybody that I mentor, everybody who consider themselves a child to me, I want to be that example in my career for them. Just to be that figure that they look up to and say, she's still going, I can still keep on keeping on, right? But you know, I find, or I have found with time that young people, they don't really know. You know, a young person said to me once, this a brilliant young man, absolutely exceptional young man, and he says to me, you know, everybody is complaining and complaining, but none of you tell your career stories. So where do you expect that we're going to learn these things from? That was such a huge moment for me.
You.
And when I spoke at the platform in May 2023, this year,
that was a remarkable day.
Thank you. A lot of young people reached out. And you know, it just helped me see that, yes, we've always known that, oh, you know what, there is a problem. But I think probably for the first time, I saw that there was really a collective hunger for what to do.
Or what is the problem, really? I mean, the young ones want to know what are you complaining about?
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, everybody is complaining about
us.
Yeah, but they don't quite know what to do.
What it is.
Yes, because they are a bold generation. They are trying what they know. But you know, it's like, teach me what you know. Tell me for real. I almost think they're looking for authenticity. You know, they see people who are made up, who are speaking things that they don't necessarily think is the truth.
Oh.
Right? So they're looking for...
So they want the authentic, the story behind the glam.
Yes. Give me the story. Tell me what to do. Right? Be honest with me. Right? So I saw that and I said, okay, you know what? I like to teach. And this was something that I was doing, especially in my posting in Port Harcourt. Okay. Right? Towards the end, I used to do these 7 a.m. sessions where we'll start at 7 a.m., drop off at 7:55, and I'd see that we'd have 200 people, 300 people log into those sessions.
Wow.
I just used to do it because, okay, you know what, opportunity to just teach the younger ones, teach the younger ones in the region, teach the younger ones. So I started to see that hunger once again. And I said, you know, what do I do about it? I've never been necessarily someone who I've been uncomfortable with coming out in social media. I mean, Omon, you know that. I know that you were kind of maybe surprised.
I was extremely surprised.
So like, Ndidi, are you kidding me?
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I've personally gone through that same hurdle too.
I didn't want that social media. I didn't want that blitz. But I realized that social media
the only way
really,
to engage with those people.
It's a platform where you can reach more and more people, where we can teach and, you know, hopefully change their trajectory. Yeah.
And the truth is, what I've actually learned about social media now is you put the narrative that you want. You can control the narrative.
Yes.
So, I mean, our generation, when we looked at it from the beginning, we're like, oh, it's too negative. Oh, maybe, no, you're putting yourself out there too much. You're doing... No, when is impact is impact. I share your sentiment. Remember, I actually hated social media at some point. I felt it was not necessary, especially for us. I felt it was just for the younger generation, for them to showcase what they wanted or they had. But not very recently, but with time, I got to understand that social media is a powerful tool. It's actually how you use it. And you can actually control the narrative the way you want it. And I think a few people, you know, mentioned to me like, no, you don't be scared. It's not this. You don't have to expose what you don't want to expose. You don't have to tell what you don't want to tell. So you can control whatever you put out there. And I started opening up, embracing it and seeing that, wow, it has a lot of benefits and a lot of pluses. And just as you said, you spoke at the platform and you had a lot of young youths coming to you to say they wanted more. The same thing has been happening to me all through my career. A lot of, especially young ladies, even guys, but mostly young ladies, please mentor me, mentor me, mentor me. I was like, I can't mentor. I don't have the time to mentor.
You can't mentor everybody.
Said, yes, at the same time or even in different times.
Social media.
But I said I could use this platform to mentor many people and globally. And just as I mentioned to you, I went to the UK. And so people actually watched the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. In my mind, I was like, hey, you know, sometimes you have this tricky, funny mindset. You say, this show that you might thinking, you may even stop. You know, like, you know, when you get to those hard times, maybe some people are saying they are watching and they are being encouraged by it. And say, Omon, you cannot stop. Yeah. Even if it's for just one person, I will continue. Even if it's for 2 people, I will continue.
And you know, it's the...
And there's a joy that comes from it.
But it's also the... You know, we can complain and complain and complain, oh, this generation, complain about this and complain about that, complain about the country, complain. What are you doing?
So this is our own small way of creating impact.
Our own bit,
and creating a legacy.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I'm so empowered. I mean, I'm sure every person who is driving a career path is actually listening and also learning a lot from you. So another question I would like to ask you, how have you been able to navigate the work-life balance? Or will I say juggle the work-life? I mean, how have you been able to do it all?
So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who have heard me speak, as you expect, I get this question quite a bit. I'll say first and foremost, something Sheryl Sandberg said, a big part of your career decision.
She likes reading books a lot. I didn't say that part. Well, a lot, too much.
Yes, I like to read. And she says something that a big part of your career is your decision on who you marry. So my husband has really, really been a strong support for me when it comes to my career. Now, having said that, there has to be practical things. But generally, I say, especially to young people, that the problem is, you know, your life is in phases and in seasons.
Exactly.
But, you know, you want to keep running the structure that you have all through life, despite the fact that your seasons are changing. So you must be mindful to pause and say, how can I tackle the way my life is now differently? And be creative and do what you need to do. Put structures and systems in place to make sure it works for you. Okay? So a few things that I do is, I mean, I hate for anybody to talk to me about the things they need in the house. Shopping is done once a month. So it's like every single thing that I know is required for the month, the house is stocked up.
Okay.
We don't do every 5 minutes, there's a list, there's another list. Don't talk to me about any list, okay? Then there's a utility card for the
workers,
bread,
for egg, because I'm not saying that you can't buy those things for 1 month.
Your life is sorted, so you're not disrupted by all of those things, right?
But in the early years, because some of our viewers are young people, I mean, they are starting their careers and they're having young families. How do they balance it using your own life experience? How were you able to balance
even in the early years, so let me say this, even in my early years, until now, I actually practiced it, but more in my early years, I used to have, every time I went to the market, because I saw that I was struggling, and then I made friends with women in the market, Auntie Eukaria, and I would send her my list on the phone, and then people would tell me, oh, they'll be cheating you. I say the 5,000 naira extra that they would take, it is the price of my peace of mind.
Exactly. And the stress of going there.
For years, I ran that. And what it immediately did for me was the Saturdays that I used to spend, the mornings in the market, shopping to come and cook, that ended. I could sleep in and rest because the evening before, on my way home, Auntie Eukaria had purchased all the things. I drove past, I collected the things from her, I gave her her money, and I tipped her a bit more. So she would put the things that she sold, and she would help me buy the things she didn't sell from everybody else. She would buy, go to the butcher and get meat.
Oh, definitely.
And everything else. And if she took extra, it worked for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have
the price you pay for your peace of mind.
For my peace of mind. That was the surcharge for my peace of mind.
There has to be a value placed on it. So, it can't be free.
I mean, sometimes you need 2 housekeepers.
I've even had up to 3 sometimes.
An auntie who will come and live with you. You need to find what works for you. And then for me again, ladies, there are things that sometimes leave it for your man. Leave it for your partner.
Yes.
If he's great at something, let him handle it. Because a lot of us are pandering to what will people say.
Why? Okay, anyway, we're in a society that different things happen.
But whatever. You know, if you're the kind of person married to a man who loves to cook,
allow him to cook.
If you're married to a man who loves to
clean up, some men just like cleaning up,
wash up, do the homework with the kids, let him do it. You know, you can't want to do everything.
You'll burn out.
You will burn out.
You'll burn out.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful inspiration and insight into your own life. And I'm sure a lot of the audience have heard you.
But can I say this?
Yes.
There are seasons when you need to shut down and say, so when I'm a chartered accountant and when I was going to be doing my qualifying exams, my first degree was not in accounting.
What was it?
in agri-economics.
Wow.
I went on to become a chartered accountant.
Wow.
When I was going to do that, I think we were...
two different worlds apart.
We were about 8 of us then who started the journey, and only I finished it. There will be seasons in your life where a sacrifice will be required.
Definitely.
And in that season,
you have to know
I just had a conversation with my husband. I said, for the next 3 years, I don't have a life. And truly, when you invited me for events, I would not go.
Won't show up.
My husband was content to go alone for stuff because I needed to stay focused and do this. So there will be seasons when
something would have to give. Yes, for something, a greater
something
purpose.
Will have to give. Yeah.
You've heard it all, our young professionals. When you take up a job, whether it's the graduate training level or it's mid-level or even management level, we need to be very, very intentional. Have this right mindset. It's very critical now more than ever before. You have to have the mindset, especially for the young people in their career path, starting off their career, to ensure that you have the mindset knowing that you're going in it for yourself. When you understand the meaning of taking up a job and doing it for yourself, then the rest is actually very simple. I'm telling you, you don't even need so much more, because having the right mindset, knowing that you're going to that job to do it well and to succeed, and whatever challenge that happens, you're able to navigate through it and ask for the support that you require. Please have the right mindset. It's really, really critical. Never you take up a job and when you start, maybe you start off with the right mindset, or see a couple of people and get distracted who tell you or give you that still statement that, oh, who are you working for? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing all this? Don't be distracted. Be focused. People are watching. People see within an organization. They know who is pulling their weight, who is adding that extra time, who is doing the work diligently and with their heart. And you will see that those who work with their heart actually have greater impact than those who just mediocrely take up challenges or do things. So please make sure your mindset is right and never change that mindset. Carry on the torch and do well. And you'll find that even in your career path, the majority of the things that you do or you navigate through, they are experiences, they are learnings which would prepare you for greater responsibility, greater roles, and of course, definitely for promotion. Because why are we in the career in the first place if we do not get promoted? So please, the mindset is really critical. Secondly, we should avoid, I know we cannot eliminate it, also understand the concept that you are managing your boss. I'm sure you'll find that a bit strange to hear, but that's the truth. When you're working in an establishment, you're actually managing your boss, and doing that right would actually see you into success. But your boss will definitely be managing you, but it's not as much as you intentionally taking up the role to say, I will manage my boss. Whatever he throws at me, I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to surmount it. Even if sometimes it gets personal, and that's when you have to draw the line. Take a deep breath. Assess the situation and see how best you can actually wiggle out of it. And if it becomes so bad, sometimes you just avoid. Sometimes avoidance may be the solution for that case, for that situation at that time. But later on, you can actually deal with it when things are calmer and things are better. Remember, nothing bad lasts forever. You can always navigate through that. One of the useful tips that you could use as an employee in the business is also volunteering yourself. Volunteer yourself for work. Never you look at it as they are punishing you or you are doing so much for the company. You're actually developing yourself. And you'll find out that anytime you volunteer yourself for things, and as the time goes by, you see that those things will actually become useful tips, useful skills that you require for other bigger roles. And sometimes those volunteer jobs, you get exposed to people, projects that ordinarily you would never have been given the opportunity to do. So please, take these few tips of mine and use them wisely, and be sure that your career path is straight to success. Well done, and continue to watch Omon's Couch. Ndidi, we are going to the fun part of this segment, and I will be asking you a trivia question. And the question goes like this. If you could choose any superpower, would it be, and how would you use it to enhance your journey as a career professional and mentor to young entrepreneurs?
Wow. Do you want the real answer?
Yes, the real answer. Yes, I do.
And I've wanted the superpower for fun.
Okay.
So I think I'm always in that work mode.
Okay,
I've
work
always
mode.
been in that work mode.
So you want the superpower
to loosen up, have fun.
Do you need superpowers to loosen
yes,
up?
I mean,
at this stage in your life, I think you do.
Who have fun think there's nothing to it.
Yes.
Right?
But for you, it's
but
really
for me,
a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Wow.
And I even tell young people, that is one area where you shouldn't be like me. You must, if you talk to the young people who've worked with me, they'll tell you that she always says it. Loosen up, have fun. Loosen up, have fun. I still struggle with it.
Wow.
Ask me today. So, what do myself and my husband do for fun?
What? Reading
books. The worst thing you have ever heard.
What?
We get in a car, we drive and drive back, and we're done.
I don't understand.
It is ridiculous.
Driving to where?
So now
nowhere.
To nowhere.
Wow.
So now.
No, in the day I have to do something about your case. Personally, I have to fix that for you. Because I was actually dry too when I started my business.
Wow.
However, not as bad as this. I mean, there was still some elements of fun. But after my near-death experience with COVID, it was a wake-up call that I needed to live life. So I would use my own infection to hopefully contaminate you.
So give me that superpower.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the superpower that I want.
No. You need fun in your life.
There are things that
you need
people
to loosen
do.
up.
There are things people do.
So you don't go to parties? You don't go to...
No, hardly. There are things people do like, we're traveling to Santorini.
Okay, it's true. You don't travel for even destination anything.
Why?
Why?
So it is ridiculous. So when I travel, I love to travel with my family. I love for us to be
also fun.
Together. Yeah, but it's not
the same.
That adventurous fun. I do know I need to loosen up. So if you have a superpower to
we'll
give
work
me,
together
it has to be
on that, and hopefully I will be able to work on you because it looks like it's more serious than I thought. Great to have you on Omon's Couch, and I think we have had a wonderful and splendid time together, and I'm sure our viewers have had it all. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching Omon's Couch. I am sure you are eager for another inspiring story. So click here to watch another episode or click here to subscribe. I will see you in the next episode.